I kind of love defense too, and I look at it, it's in a vision, for us as well. But yeah, I think we need to get better on defense.
But do you hear from the former Bears or
No, they weren't like in line calling me to tell me how bad we stink, all right? But, people that I do know, I like getting into all personal conversations, but ex-players, ex-coaches, it's a very small fraternity of people, so, you build relationships with those people too, and they want to see you have success. Sometimes, they might have recommendations.
John, was Brandon Marshall perceived as a problem by the Bears?
Again, I never really got to coach Brandon Marshall. I followed him in Denver.
Just from maybe what you heard in the organization.
I'm not going to get into all the personal conversations about people we had. As I mentioned earlier, I think it was a trade that worked out very well for both of us. I think the world of Brandon and myself in my 2 conversations with him, and I wish him nothing but the best.
And you talked at the introductory press conference about the time you missed in Denver a couple years ago with the health scare. The time away, how did that sharpen your perspective? How did it change you at all or impact you?
It was like being injured. I joked with guys in the locker room. I was back in the building 4 months, or 4 weeks post-op. I had a guy with an ankle when I left, and he still had the ankle when I got back. So it gave me a little street cred on injuries. On a serious note, I think really, when you see the fear in your family, I think initially, once they fixed the valve, I was actually 150% better. I did learn that technology is pretty amazing. Sitting in my study in Charlotte, North Carolina, I could watch practice from that day's practice that just concluded 5 minutes ago. So I was still very much involved, whether it been the opponent cut-ups or, from a strategical standpoint as far as game planning, offense, defense, kicking game. I never missed a day of that game planning. So I learned technology is pretty amazing. The lady came in to tell me, I'm still in ICU. She's got wires coming everywhere. We're going for a walk. I laughed at her. But it's amazing now, some science and what they can do. But it's life-changing a little bit when you see the fear on, maybe your family's faces.
Did you fight the doctors in the timetable, and obviously your itch to get back was...
Well, interesting. The surgeon himself just said, he looked at me right now, he says, you're 150% better. Obviously, there's some precautions, from a legal standpoint. We were kind of stuck on the 4 weeks, and they weren't going to let me come back any earlier than that. So, 4 weeks.
John, at the...
I really liked also him coming out. What I've seen, he was a little nicked last year. I think, one of the things I'd say that we had a lot of soft tissue injuries last year as a football team. We kind of changed philosophically in the look of our weight room. I think we'll see that we're going to do things a lot different from off-season conditioning, the approach, the load, how we handle that. We were pretty blessed that I don't think we had a soft tissue injury a year ago in Denver. Bit by one particular guy. I think he didn't miss it. He didn't. Yeah. I'm not going into that. But he didn't miss any time on the field. But anyways, so I think that'll help him. I think there's been times in his career where he might have been a little overweight, but I think he's obviously a beast as far as size. How he can separate. The guy we're looking forward to getting to know better.
Are you the weight room? Are you doing less Olympic stuff and more?
It's just different. I mean, it's more team-oriented. We have 4 strength coaches now. It's done more in groups. It's philosophically a little bit different than some people are doing, and one we're excited about getting started.
John,
Tell us
I don't want to tell everybody else that they copy us.
John, at the Combine, you guys sounded much more open about the quarterback position than Ryan was a couple weeks ago. What did Jay do to convince you guys that he'll be the starter over from the span of a month?
I'll rephrase the question differently.
Go ahead.
I think we were in the evaluation process at the combine. Again, much like any decision we make, right or wrong, or how it proves, I think we were being deliberate about going through that. You're limited on how much time you can spend with players during that period, albeit it was a contract negotiation, so we were within rules able to communicate. And we reached a decision that he was our best opportunity moving forward, and we've done that.
Did you discuss with him redoing his deal?
I'm not going to get into everything other than there was ongoing contract talks, and it had time limits. That's all I'll say.
Hey, Coach, how much of the schematic systems in the Broncos offense are going to find their way into the Bears defense? Because there are things you guys did that were actually, in some cases, rather innovative in terms of approach.
Well, I think sometimes people get lost between the organization and the creator. I think what you do is you try to find really good human talent, even in the coaching aspect of it, and then try to motivate them to be the best they can do. A lot of those things as coaches, everybody brings their own style with them. I think were implemented, by the coaches. So some will be carried over to the Chicago Bears, I'm sure.
Your thoughts on a particular memory or lesson that you carried with you from Chuck Noll or from him as a young coach?
I think, being the same guy, don't ride the roller coaster, be even keeled. Basically, when you stop learning, you stop living. So really everything, kind of attack learning in all aspects. Those would be the ones I think have been core for me.